Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to the Startup Show. My name's Nicole Leandra, host, and I'm here with Rory Moore, co-founder and CEO of EvoNexus. We'd like to take the opportunity here with Rory to talk about the ecosystem, the startup ecosystem. EvoNexus has had a great role. They have 3 locations, over 50 startups, all doing great things here. So Rory, what can you tell us about Evo's role?
Well, EvoNexus began in about 2009, 2010, as the world was going through a bit of a financial meltdown. And Vice Admiral Davis and I felt like what the region needed was an uplifting event to kind of re-energize everybody in the region, especially the startups that were having trouble raising capital at the time. A number of people were being laid off during the downturn in the economy. So we felt like starting an incubator like EvoNexus would be quite different than a Silicon Valley incubator in that we wanted to make it totally free to the entrepreneurs. And by doing so, it lowered the capitalization cost of starting a company. To do that, we had to convince other people to pay for it, other corporations to pay for it. And the Admiral and I are pretty convincing, and we convinced some very large companies to foot the bill, including the Irvine company to give us free office space. That worked out rather well beyond our imagination, frankly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And fast forward to present day, we have 3 locations, all provided by the Irvine company, over 50,000 square feet of Class A office lab space. Yeah. We have 50 companies currently in incubation. We've had 120 odd companies go through incubation. 72% of the companies that have gone through incubation have all raised investor capital. And the total capital and outcomes exceed almost $1.2 billion. So it's been wildly successful. The Admiral and I are very proud of what happened. We had a lot of help along the way. The volunteers made it happen, quite frankly. Without volunteers, we couldn't have done it. Without the sponsors like the Irvine company, Qualcomm and LG and others, we couldn't have done it. Yeah. But most importantly, we couldn't have done it without these hair-on-fire, crazy entrepreneurs that we admitted into EvoNexus that don't go home at night, that work 24/7, and are betting the farm on their startup. So that's EvoNexus in a nutshell. We're going to take it to a whole new level over the next 5 years, and we think that San Diego will remember us not as Admiral as a retired Navy 3-star, me as the former founder of Peregrine Semiconductor, but they're going to remember EvoNexus.
Yeah, yes they will. Yes they will. And Irvine Company is to thank for all the meetings that took place to bring Startup Week together too. So all the energy here. So speaking of energy, there's been lots of energy around the startup scene and actually building this into just a stronger ecosystem, one where our startups are equipped with what they need to kind of become what they can become. What would you say on that?
Well, I think that there are many organizations in town, San Diego Venture Group, for example, and others, that really helps the early stage startups get visibility, begin life. There are co-working facilities like Wework and Desk Hub and Vine that help the entrepreneur that has a raw idea get started. And it's not the fact that we aren't starting enough companies, it's we aren't scaling them. We get them to a certain point in time, they raise a little money, they raise maybe 1 round, and then the next round, which is the large round, is really hard to raise because it requires out-of-town capital. Capital that's not resident here. So if you look at the capital it takes to scale the next Peregrine Semiconductor, the next Viasat, the next company that grows to 1,000 or more jobs in this town, it takes capital to get there, and we don't have it here, which means we have to pull it down, kicking and screaming from the Silicon Valley. And the only way to do that is to show the venture capitalists up there is that our ventures down here are better than what they're looking at up there. Or else, it's a lot easier for them to invest in their own neighborhood.
Right. Right. Well, Evo's had a very active role in that. I know you guys do semi-annual demo days and are very active in the community all around. So it's been a real honor to have you here. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Or?
Well, I'd like to add a little commercial about San Diego Venture Group. They recently did something that was very heroic. Two things. One, they went to the Silicon Valley and did a job fair. I went there with them. And they had over 1,000, well, no, maybe not 1,000, but they had at least 300 or 400 engineers show up.
Yeah, several hundred.
What would it be like to work in San Diego down there? And then they recently had quite a few venture capitalists come down for their cool companies competition. And those kinds of things draw the investors down. Again, no investors, no scaling. And if you can't scale, all you're going to have here is some little outcomes. You're not going to grow the next Viasat. You're not going to grow the next Qualcomm or Illumina or Nuvasiv. So that's the challenge San Diego faces, is capital, capital, capital. We have super bright people here. In fact, UCSD graduates more engineers on that campus than the other UC campuses combined. Problem is they leave town when they graduate.
Right.
So we got to keep them here. We got to show them opportunities. We need programs like this to get them excited, give them hope, energy. We need EvoNexus to get them to that next level, to grow, to attract capital. And then you need everybody in the community to start to showcase the fact that we have high quality companies here, and that's where the money should invest.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's been such an honor to have you here. You're a real true mover and shaker in this community. So yeah, until next time.
Thank you, Nicole.